that's the actual one. I forgot to take the end off of the opening credit there. All right. So, welcome to another episode of Gold Rush here on the JTR Podcast Network. This is Mark Reb coming to you from the Noodles position in Champaign, Illinois, joined as always by my tag team partner, Jabari Sinclair. Bari, it's like you're hanging a little bit there on your headset.
Yeah, I'm hanging. Literally 2 minutes before the show starts, I go to pick up my headphones. I drop them on my table, and this comes off. I said, "Great, whatever. We'll roll with it."
Hey, we're playing hurt. That's okay.
Exactly.
All right. So, as we have been saying, this is going to be our episode dedicated to the Texas Heavyweight Championship of, Texas. I mean,
Texas.
it kind of covered everywhere from San Antonio to Houston over its history, but we're not going to do the whole history because that would take us back to like the 1930s, Vari, and we don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, it's deep, and that's why I had to ask you earlier. Hey, where are we starting this thing at?
Yeah. Now, the tricky thing is there aren't a whole lot of matches on YouTube for
There isn't.
And also, when I was going through finding my my overlays with all the champions on here, there's not a lot of pictures of some of these guys with the belt. So
Yeah.
there's going to be some like I try to have it all the pictures have the guy holding the belt that we're talking about, but that's not going to happen today. Just as a warning.
All right.
But I did do a little bit of homework about this belt, and let me get a picture of it. Here we go.
I took some
Look at
notes
that.
too. Yeah, look at there. Isn't that a beaut?
It is a beaut. So this belt was designed by Reggie Parks, due to my research,
Yes,
and
yes.
it was introduced in June of 1984, and it basically was the belt for the Texas Heavyweight Championship until World Class closed in I think it was 1991, and so that's the period we're going to cover. We're going to cover basically from the time of the first tournament for this belt because, like you said, there was a Texas Heavyweight Champion before this. And just for a little backstory, David Von Erich was the Texas Heavyweight Champion when he passed away in, I think it was February of '84. So the belt kind of went on hiatus after that for obvious reasons. And they had a tournament in June of '84 in between the Parade of Champions show in Texas Stadium and the Cotton Bowl show that followed later that summer. So I actually have a look at the tournament here. I'm going to throw it up. And Kerry was supposed to be in this tournament, but he got taken out by Gino Hernandez, who took his spot in the tournament. So here's the field we were looking at here. And
Oh wow.
yeah, it's an impressive group for sure.
Yeah,
Kind of from the
definitely.
from the end era of World Class almost. I think Jose Lothario was in this. And
Right.
George Weingroff is a guy not a lot of people know. I know him from Mid South. He was kind of an enhancement Mid South wrestler in the early '80s. And I'll leave that up there. Uh, Black Gordman's an old time guy from the West Coast, masked wrestler, and he had Terry Gordy in this. Let me see here. No, Kerry was in this. I was mistaken. I got some bad information. That person will be
Yeah.
fired. See Hollywood John Tatum and Jules Strongbow, Buck Zumoff, who we try not to discuss too much
Yeah.
on the
The less
network.
we talk about him, the better.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he did beat Michael Hayes in the first round, but he lost to Jules Strongbow, so we don't have to talk about him anymore. And then Kevin Von Erich and Killer Khan in the first round. We just lost Killer Khan last week, Barry.
Yeah. Yep. Sure did.
Man that taught Terry Gordy the Oriental Spike. And then Ric Flair, I guess, just put into the second round of the tournament. I mean, he was the world champion at the time, so
They went on ahead and threw him in the quarterfinals.
yeah, against Kevin. Not so. So yeah, it's a pretty stacked tournament if you look at it from top to bottom here. And I love that they had Jose Lothario and Gino in the second round because they had a blood feud in Houston in the early '80s. I mean, both guys shaved each other's heads. It was epic. It's the feud that made Gino a star in Texas.
Right.
So then, of course, you got to get a Freebird Von Erich match in the tournament. Terry Gordy against Kerry in the second round. Uh, then Kevin and Flair, who I've seen them have some bangers back in the day on YouTube.
Same, same.
Yeah. Gino beats Kerry in the semifinals. Flair beats Jules Strongbow, and then this kind of surprised me. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that a Texas guy won the belt and not the world champion, but you still got to call this an upset. Gino beating Flair in the
Yeah, Gino
finals of
beating
this
Flair,
tournament.
exactly. Yeah.
Both two guys that Bruce Prichard said could have been the $1 Million Man if Ted DiBiase wasn't available, and if
Yeah.
Gino had been alive.
Either one. Yeah.
But yeah, so this was the tournament in '84 for the first champion, and let me get my graphics up. I've got to be more careful with my pictures because I don't want to completely fill up the thing here. But let me get these loaded up. And after this tournament was over with in 1984, first Texas heavyweight champion with this belt, the handsome half-breed Gino Hernandez.
The handsome
And
half breed himself.
man, I was watching a little bit of World Class today, just trying to do a little bit of homework. But like I said, even though I wouldn't find a lot of stuff with the belt, just watching Gino getting his butt kicked by Stella Mae French. Remember her, Bari?
Yep.
Sunshine's auntie. And,
Yeah.
and Andrea the Lady Giant, which was baby doll, but good stuff.
Oh, world class. Never,
Oh,
right,
world
never,
class, world class indeed.
never disappoints.
Yes. So the title switches were fairly consistent in world class. There weren't a lot of like long-term champions here. There's some guys for there. There were a few that were a decent amount of time, but like Gino only held for like his first reign was only a month long because he held it from June
Right.
23rd, 84 to July 29th. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a year and a month. So that's until July of 85. Uh, I got to read these
Yeah.
things easier. But he did drop the belt to Brian Adias, who was any world class diehards know he was like a school friend of Kerry Von Erich back in the day, and
Ah,
then Fritz
okay,
gave
because
him a
I wasn't
shot.
familiar with Brian it is. So okay, okay. Now that makes sense.
Man whose name is always mispronounced as Adidas by
Adidas.
people not in the know. That can't get old for him.
Right.
But so Adias held the belt for a couple months until September of '85, when he dropped it back to Gino,
Yeah.
and then Gino held it for actually about 3 weeks, dropped it back to Adias again. So they kind of
Right. I'm
traded
about to
it
say they
for
like
a couple,
they did a little hot potato right there. So I
a
put it in my
little hot
notes.
potato.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Then Diaz holds the belt for until December 9th of '85. I'm trying to keep my dates right here so I can sound more informed, Bari, than usual. But I'm just kind of fudging the facts a little bit. But in December he dropped it to the grappler Lynn Denton, and this
The
is one where I
grappler.
couldn't find him with the belt, so I'm not sure which belt this is he's got. It might be the American Heavyweight Championship. I'm not sure.
That's what
But
it looks like.
yeah, the the fellow that wrestled with the gout. He always carried the cane to the ring, had the special boot, which that boot wasn't loaded at all, was it?
Right. It it came preloaded, if you will.
Right. And of course, I don't know if this is around the same time that he was teaming with Dirty White Boy in other territories, Tony Anthony, as the grapplers, plural.
Right.
But down in like Mid South or in World Class, grappler was kind of a staple in this period. So he had the belt
That's what I
for
thought. Yeah.
yeah. Holds the belt for about 4 months, drops it back to Brian Adias for his third
Yeah.
run.
For his
I
third
like how all
run.
of these. So I use Wikipedia because they're never wrong for my dates, and on all these it says the champion, the date, and the event. Like if it was WWF, it'd be like Triple H 2002 WrestleMania or something like that. Every stinking one of these says house show.
House show. Yeah. I went to Wikipedia earlier. I seen that too. I was like, Jesus, all these house shows. Okay, then.
Oh my goodness.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive indeed. All right, so Adias holds the belt from March 10th of 86 until July 4th, and he drops it to a guy
Oh,
who's
Mad Dog himself.
he's both
The original
the
Mad
Mad
Dog.
Dog, both respected and reviled by everyone because
God,
he was a
look at him with
friggin'
his
nut.
33-pound head. Jesus, look how big his head
Back
is.
back when ugly guys could get a push.
Exactly. Jeez.
Yeah,
It,
of course
right, looks like
his
ugly
brother was a
problem the end result.
yeah. All right, so Buzz holds it until January. The belt is vacated. I forget the reason why. Uh, because I took down my Wikipedia, so I can't scroll over to the other far end. But
Right.
so after Buzz, they have another tournament, and believe it or not, I have that tournament handy too, Bari. So let's get that up
All
here.
right.
Just throw that up. All right. All right. So this one, some guys I'm not as familiar with. A lot of buys in this tournament. Looks of it.
Yeah,
Must have had
geez, look at
some
that. Right.
no show.
That's
Must
a
have had
whole
some no
second
shows.
lower bracket. Yeah, just buys.
Looks like an instinct lyric sheet.
Right.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have gone there.
Oh
But
well.
going,
It's a,
yeah. So you got Steve Simpson, the South African babyface they brought in after Mike got hurt, taking on Scott Casey, who we all know and love from Survivor Series 1988 on Team Duggan. Let's see. Let's do the buys here. Matt Bourne and the Grappler, Tony Atlas and Killer Tim Brooks. I'd be worried about Tony in that match because Brooks was nuts.
really.
For those who don't know, train Keith Lee, Killer Tim Brooks. Let's see. Oh, the Dingo Warrior taking on
Dingo
Master
Warrior.
G in the first round. Yes, and I think
Holland.
Dingo was managed. I think he was managed by Gary Hart at that time, wasn't he?
I'm not sure.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a question that I think he was because most of the pictures you see of Dingo Warrior in World Class, Gary Hart was with him. But yeah, this is not as impressive of a field as the original tournament in '84 was.
No, not at all.
Although we do, although we do get a Dingo Warrior Matt Bourne semifinal match, which I got to assume Bourne was carrying Dingo through that one.
Well, you only have to assume that that's what happened.
Yeah,
Knowing how we know the Dingo Warrior turned out there, I'm
right,
quite
right.
certain that the future Doink the Clown carried the future Ultimate Warrior.
Yes. Oh my goodness. How these things get under this? But anyway, so after that tournament was over with, Dingo goes to the finals against Bob Bradley, and Bob Bradley gets the win. Look at that guy.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
Wow. Wow. He was the Texas heavyweight champion. Oh wow.
He
Okay.
was the
Well maybe
Texas
he was
heavyweight champion.
maybe he had some great ring fundamentals, if you will.
Possibly. That's the thing. You can't find a lot of Bob's matches on YouTube. So I haven't seen any of his work really. Like I said,
Right.
when World Class was the thing, I wasn't watching because I was number one, I was about 5 years old. Number two, we didn't get the channels that carried World Class television.
Exactly.
Oh, hey, Minders is in the chat, Barry. There you go. I think that was Doink versus Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. All right, so Bob holds the belt from January 12th of 87 through February 2nd of 87. And then there's Dingo Warrior gets his run with it.
All right. With all of his jet
And he
fuel and carrying off with pachyderms and elephants and what have you.
yes. Yes. Brought that belt back to parts unknown Texas.
Yeah. Still
But
smells like
yeah,
jet fuel.
so Yes, but Dingo, he held the belt, and I'm calling him Dingo for the purposes of this episode because he wasn't Ultimate yet. Oh, and
Not
there's
yet.
scoffing at the Warrior. But Dingo held the belt from February 2nd of '87 through June 21st, so he had a pretty decent run with it, about 4 months or so. And he dropped it to who I think was one of the more underrated wrestlers in the '80s, one Al Perez,
Al Perez, yeah, yeah, yeah.
the man that was, I guess, supposed to be the Black Scorpion for all you WCW fans, but decided against it. Decided he
Wise
would just
judgment.
let, yeah, yeah, right. It's like he knew. It's like Terry Funk with the night gimmick in the Survivor Series. He just decided not to do it.
Yeah, sometimes you just know.
Oh, by the way, Barry, I caught you on when you were in the chat on the shootout last night or Wednesday night. We were talking to Clayton Clark, the sheriff of Shotgun City, and you
Uh-huh.
mentioned in the chat you said he was a pup with big paws. So I know you were listening to the omnibus because Cornette said that about the Briscoes on the Those We Lost omnibus. So I caught you.
Yep, yep, yep. I had listened to that omnibus that morning actually. So yeah, yeah. Hey man, it was fitting.
It was very fitting. Yeah, I mentioned it to Menders too. Like, yeah, I know he's been listening to Corny. But, all right, so Perez winds up vacating the belt. I'm assuming this because he was going to Crockett because in August 21st of '87 he vacated the championship. And 10 days later there was a house show. Believe it or not, Bari, another house show.
Yeah.
uh, and our new champion was crowned, and it was Ted Arcidi,
World's
who was
strongest
blast from the
man,
past. World's strongest man. Carried
Ted
a big
Arcidi.
planet Earth on his back. Or
Yeah,
was that Kazmaier? I always get those guys mixed up.
that was Bill Kazmaier.
Yeah. But Arcidi gets the belt 2 days after my 6th birthday, just for those that are wondering.
Oh wow.
So happy birthday to me. Uh, and Arcidi had a couple month run with the belt. He dropped it on November 10th of '87 to the aforementioned Matt Bourne. Thank you to Blue
Yeah.
Eyed Chap 2000. I couldn't find a
Okay.
picture of Bourne with the belt that didn't have a friggin' watermark on it, but
Right. No, it's
it'll do.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as we give him his credit on the show, I think we'll be all right. But Matt Bourne, that's an underrated guy. Even
He
even when he
was, and
was a
how
doink.
great. Yeah, and how great he was in world class, and how great he was in Mid South. I mean, man.
I love the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Him and even though he and Duggan couldn't stand each other.
Could not stand each other.
No.
He went to his grave not liking Duggan.
Yeah. Oh, to be a fly on the wall during the fight.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm missing something here. Yeah, that's no biggie. Okay, so anyway, uh, so Matt Bourne holds the belt for there we go until February 26th of 1988, and he drops the belt to the reputable cockadoodle-doo man, as Conrad calls him, Terry Taylor.
Right.
Back when
Look
Terry
at
was a stud, back then he was
company man himself.
a company man himself, indeed. Oh, that's why that picture wasn't on there because it's not a JPEG. Keep talking about Terry while I fix this real quick here, Barry.
Terry Taylor, another phenomenal athlete. He really was.
Yeah,
Got a really he got a really cheap, not very good push in WWE with the Red Rooster stuff, but outside of WWE, he was great.
yeah. Uh, I love the story he told working in Mid South with working with Flair. And Flair shows up at the Superdome hungover and looking all disheveled, and Terry's nervous because he's supposed to make Terry look great. He's always had that reputation to go an hour and make his opponent look like $1 million, and he's walking and looking like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I'd be kind of worried too, but I mean, Flair when it came time for go, he went
That's the thing. When match time came, he was coiffed and had his robe on, and he was Ric Flair.
ready to go.
he was ready to go. So Terry was worried for nothing. Uh,
Exactly.
yes. So Terry, and this is in what's my timetable? This is in early '88. So this is after the run with Nikita in the UWF TV title when he
Hmm.
was at Starrcade. So Terry holds the belt until July 4th of '88, and then he drops it. And I can't believe this is the first time we're mentioning these guys holding this championship to Kevin Von Erich.
Kevin Von Erich. Yep.
I mean, obviously, like we said, David was the guy holding the belt when this belt was introduced after he passed. But the fact that they waited for over 4 years to put this belt on Von Erich is kind of crazy to think about.
Right. Yeah. But then again, what major storyline was were they involved in where they didn't need a belt?
Right. I mean, they were always involved with the Freebirds. This is around the time that Kerry was feuding with Lawler,
Oh well, yeah. There you
going
go.
into Super Clash. So yeah,
Yeah.
they were, and then yeah, maybe Kevin was taking a little bit of it back. I know they were doing the tag run too, Kevin and Kerry. They were
Right.
kind of more focused on that for the most part. So yeah, so Kevin holds a belt and only held it for a month at this point. And in August 5th of '88, he dropped it to one of my favorite world class wrestlers, the Iceman, King
Iceman,
Parsons.
yes, Iceman Parsons, yeah.
My wife saw his. My wife had never heard of him, and I was watching World Class the other day, and she came and she saw him, and she's like, "What the hell happened to his hair?" Because he
Nothing.
had kind of a questionable hairstyle.
Right. That was his style.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine going out in public with that haircut. Just in
Yeah.
general, like going out to dinner or going to church or whatever. But hey, he made it work. That was his gimmick in those back in those days. Everybody lived their gimmicks, so it
Yep.
worked out. And I think was he with the Freebirds at this point? Was he working heel in August of '88?
He was working heel, but I don't know if he was with the Freebirds or not. He may have been.
Because I know he was involved when Fritz had his heart attack on Christmas
Yeah.
of '87.
God, so cringy.
Yeah. All right. So Iceman holds the belt for. Let me do my math. Oh wow, he had a nice run with it from August 5th to February of '89.
Yeah, it's a
So yeah,
decent
for about
run.
6 months or so. And then he dropped it to another guy who we don't talk about a lot these days, but Brickhouse Brown.
Brickhouse Brown, yeah. That was actually the only Texas Heavyweight Championship match I could find on YouTube was these two.
Yeah, I watched it too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we're not going to really do much of a greatest matches, favorite matches kind of thing, because honestly, there's not a whole lot to pick from online
Exactly.
to watch. So this might be a little shorter episode than we intended, Barry, but we got plenty to work with, though, unlike the Hardcore Championship last time. Brickhouse, not a long run, only held for about a month, and then he dropped it to Gary Young, who I have no idea who this guy is. I'd never
Yeah,
heard
now
of him before.
I was looking and I'm kind of familiar with most of the guys on this list, but he was one
Uh-huh.
that I was like, who the hell is this?
Yeah, and Gary predictably only held it for about a month. And then, shockingly, at a house show in April of '89, he drops a belt to Erich Embry for his first run.
And
And
again, who?
I'd heard he was booking in down in World Class, I believe, either World Class or in
Oh, okay.
no,
Okay.
not in Mid South, but I think World Class he was the booker especially when Jarrett took over, like when he got involved and they're bringing USWA talent in.
Okay.
Oh, I hope she means the dog.
I hate the bell, but asshole. Yeah. And trust me, he's an asshole. So
So not Sugar.
no, not Sugar.
Even though she's kind of an asshole to me. But
Yeah. Well, she's an asshole to all men, but that's not
I'll
a
bet I
here
can.
nor there.
I'll bet I can win her over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
She has a
but,
moment.
but anyway, so Embry holds the belt for a month, and that's the thing. A lot of these guys only hold the belt for a month or two, except for the occasional Buzz Sawyer or King Parsons, like the really established people. Like
Hmm.
Kevin didn't need a long run with the belt, so the month made
No.
sense. But Embry holds. He dropped the belt on May 19th. Oh, don't tell Kane. 1989 to, and this is funny, to Super Zodiac. I looked high and low. I could not find even a picture of this guy, much less one with the belt. So here you go.
PNA.
PNA. I even went to Wikipedia and Google and put Super Zodiac in there, and it sent me to Cactus Jack. So I actually, for a second, thought, "Oh shit, was this Mick Foley in a different gimmick?" But no, it
Oh
wasn't.
wow.
I mean, Foley was there, but he wasn't under the mask
Right.
that I could find. So this is just a very mysterious fellow here,
Exactly.
Super Zodiac. Only held the belt for 4 days. So I guess it goes to show what the plan was. He dropped it back to Embry on May 23rd, 89, 10 years to the day before I graduated high school.
Mm.
And yeah, so Embry had another couple months with it. July 3rd, 1989, dropped it to another guy who I'm not familiar with, P.Y. Chun-hee.
Yeah, I
Chun-hee,
didn't. Yeah,
I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
yeah. That's what it. That's how it was spelled on Wikipedia.
Yes. And let's see. Oh, shoot. I should have looked up before I get out of that. So he wins the belt in July of 89, July 3rd. And then he dropped it on August 18th of 89 back to Eric Embry. So
To Eric, yeah,
Embry's
who
a
was
three-time
third.
champion. So if we're going to go greatest champions, Embry's going to be close to the top of the list because he's a three-time champ right there with Gino and Brian Adias, guys like that.
Hmm.
Okay, now we got a guy who you know, Barry. On October 5th of 89, Embry dropped the Texas Heavyweight Championship to the Punisher.
The Punisher.
You
Look
know
at
who that
that.
is?
Isn't that old Texas Red himself?
That's old Texas Red himself, The Undertaker,
Or
Mark Callis,
or
Mark Calloway.
or as JR called him, Bubba Red.
Booger Red, yeah. Much to the consternation of Jerry Lawler. What the hell's a Booger Red, he would say.
I don't know, but I actually have a friend from high school named Booger. But
Oh, well, all right.
yeah,
Well, there you see the Punisher there with the General, Skandar Akbar. Maybe the greatest manager in world-class history.
I'll agree.
Yeah. And he only got about just a little over 2 weeks, 15 days. He dropped the belt on October 20th of 89 to the modern day warrior, Kerry Von Erich. There you see him right there.
In all of his glory.
Yep, just a few months before he would go to the WWF. Well, he
Yeah.
actually had another run with it before he went, but see, he won the championship October 20th of 89, and man, he just has no luck because on December 12th of 89, he drops it to Jerry Lawler. He cannot keep a belt when he wrestles Lawler for the life of him.
No, you can't. Lawler's his kryptonite.
Lawler was his kryptonite, it seems like. Imagine if Lawler was a freebird.
Right. Boy.
But he did get his comeuppance because Kerry won the belt back from Lawler on January 5th of 1990. And then he held it through May 25th, which I'm assuming is when he finished up with World Class before he went to work for Vince. At
Sounds
by the
about right
time
because he debuted
that
because
sounds
he debuted in the summer of '90 for WWE.
yeah, it was like June or July because he won the IC title at SummerSlam that year, and that was in
Yep.
August.
Yep.
But May 25th, he drops the. Well, actually, no, I'm wrong. He dropped the belt to Matt Bourne on May 25th of '90, and then a week later, he dropped it back to Kerry. So Kerry had another run with it, and he held it for a month. So he held it until July 13th, which that's what I'm assuming is when he finished up,
Right.
because that's right on top of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So Kerry beats Matt Bourne on June 1st of '90. July 13th, he drops the belt to the Angel of Death. Look at that guy.
Gary
He
Hart
looks like
Jr.
I'll say he looks like Gary Hart. I thought the same thing. So this was in July 13th of 1990, and then he would actually had a few months, and then in November of '90, I guess Thanksgiving week on the 23rd, he dropped it to Kevin, and Kevin was the last guy to hold the belt until World Class officially closed down and USWA took full control over Dallas.
Hmm.
So it's kind of fitting that it started with Gino and ends with Kevin. Just two of the real stalwarts of World Class, you know what I mean? And I was surprised, because we only gave it about let's see, February of '84 to November of '90. Just a little over 6 years of a run,
Yeah.
almost seven,
Yeah.
and only 21 guys held the championship in that period.
It's not bad.
And they were all, and like I said, most of them were only for about a month at a time. But uh, but yeah, it's a storied lineage for sure. Like I said, if we had time to do a marathon, we could go back to like 1932 or whatever year it was when they introduced the championship. But we don't have that kind of time. Uh, Talking about the Texas State Championship, I just go back to thinking about all those. The NWA was big on their state championships back in the day.
They were.
Mid South had the Louisiana heavy Texas, the Louisiana Texas. That makes sense. The Louisiana Heavyweight Championship. They had the Mississippi State Championship. Of course, the Missouri State Championship. Everybody said that was the stepping stone to the world title back in the day.
Mm. Yeah, St.
Sam,
Louis.
yeah, Sam Muchnick's territory, and everybody that held that title, for the most part, would go on to at least be close to the heavyweight championship. It was like Flair, Harley. I think Harley was probably the guy that was most synonymous with that belt. But then Barry Windham, Michael Hayes, Ted DiBiase, and that's just
Yep.
from our lifetime. I don't know how long that'd be one we'd need to put some time in on if we were ever going to do a Missouri State title episode.
Yeah.
But uh, but yeah, it seems like every state in the country had a state heavyweight championship in the
Hmm.
NWA, and even going back to like 2005, you could see they had an Indiana State championship. Jimmy Jacobs held it for a long time, and he would defend it all over the place. You and oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the state championship was kind of was a staple of the NWA, and I put it up on the little graphic when we said what episode it was. This is the Texas title was kind of the last of the great state championships,
It
because
really was. Yeah.
Watts did away with the Louisiana and the Mississippi ones in the mid '80s and kind of merged them all into the North American Championship,
Hmm.
and uh, and then yeah, Fritz kind of held on to this, and even Jerry Jarrett kept it going after World Class closed down in the USWA. So
Yeah.
it had a kind of a long lineage. So the first time I ever saw this championship was just in pictures. Like I said, I didn't get World Class back in the day, but
Right. Same here.
there was a picture out of, how I love the dynamic duo, Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams. I drafted them,
Yes.
as you know, on Jumping the Rail, and I thought they were such a great tag team. And I had found the shot of Adams and Gino, and I'm going to put it up here, where they were posing. And when I first saw this, I thought that they were tag champs at this time because they did eventually hold those world class tag team titles. But it looks like this is when Adams was the American champion, which would be the belt that they folded into the WCWA World Heavyweight Championship when they broke away from the
Right.
NWA. And then then Gino's got that Texas championship. But this must have been right around the time they started teaming up after Chris turned heel on Kevin,
Hmm.
and because they weren't doing the fedoras and the glittery robes yet, they were just kind of doing their own thing, but they were allies. And I think Jake was running with them too for a while before he went to Mid South, because there was a match I saw, actually the match where Chris turned on Kevin Von Erich. I watched today, and they were wrestling Gino and Jake in a tag match,
Ah. Okay.
and Nicola was in the corner, Jake's sister-in-law,
Yeah. Yeah.
because she was married to Sam Houston,
Hmm.
blast from the past. But I think, and like I said, we can't, in good conscience, do a greatest matches because we're not informed enough to do it. But just going through the list of guys that were on this, that held this championship, if you had to pick a top three, Bari, who would you go with?
Give me Gino, of
Okay,
course.
of course.
Um. Let me look at my notes again. So we're gonna take Gino. Uh. We're gonna take Brian Diaz
Okay,
and number three. Let's be the odd man. I'll take Iceman Parsons.
oh, okay, you're going
Yeah.
Iceman. Okay,
Yeah.
now see, I would agree with that, Gino. No, no brainer. hands down. I would say Erich and Embry. I got my
Eric
wrestlers
Embry.
and actors confused.
Yeah, he was
Eric
an honorable
Embry,
mention.
yeah, three-time champ. And then I'm gonna throw Kerry in there. He was a three-time champ.
Okay.
So, and Kerry was kind of the face of the promotion by the end of the run. He was the guy. I guess
Yeah.
he was almost their Hogan because he
Yeah.
was the big jacked up baby face. Although I think we agree the most handsome was Super Zodiac.
Look at him dashing.
Dashing. Yeah. I got to do a deeper dive on Super Zodiac because now I need to know more. But
Exactly.
you can only see so much. Uh, all right. Well, we're doing pretty good. I think we're starting to get the hang of this party. This is our 10th episode. Did you realize that?
Oh wow.
It's a milestone here on the
Yes, it
GCR
is.
Podcast Network. Uh, so I showed this to you yesterday, Barry. We have, we got our merchandise on brainbustertees.com/other/slash
Yes.
JTR-podcast network. We've been plugging the We Call Them Belts shirt for a while, since about episode 2, I think. We finally got another shirt, Barry, on Brainbuster Tees, 4 millimeter
Yeah.
robust. All you belt
Robust. Yeah.
collectors will know what that means.
Dual stacking.
That's right. That 2 millimeter, that's for the not the dedicated collector.
That's for the children.
Right. Give me a good 4 millimeter zinc plate, and and you're cooking. Brass is good too, though. There's nothing wrong with the
Yeah.
brass plates.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I do want to give a thank you. In the process of doing my research, I had to reach out, and there's a Facebook group that I follow called Brothers of the Belt. I
Hey,
don't
we're
know.
both.
Are you in there, Ari?
Yeah.
And I put it out there the other day for some side information, and they came through for me. They're great. They got so much knowledge in this group. Also, they sell belts on that group. So if you want to start collecting, go there. You can find some pretty good deals on some decent
Yep.
belts. So,
You sure can.
but thank you to all the guys that helped me out with my information, because Google was not help on this.
No, it wasn't. It was
I
not.
I couldn't even find who designed the belt. I assumed it was Reggie Parks from the get-go, but I could not find anything to confirm it. So, but then the guys in this group, they were very helpful, and they clarified it for me. Yeah, it was Reggie, and they even pinpointed when it started, because I didn't realize it started in the summer of '84. I thought it was earlier than that. So,
Hmm.
so they were great for information. I will be I will be bleeding them dry for knowledge as the show goes on. Uh, and then also, there's almost like a wiki page for belts on online too that you can go to. We get that's where I went to get the title history, like the all the title changes and everything like that. So that was very helpful also. I think, you know what, we're coming up on 40 minutes, which is longer than we did last time. So we told the people we were going to go longer this time.
Yeah, yeah, and we did.
Yeah. But Bar, you know how it goes. I picked this one, so you get to pick the next one.
All right. I think I'm gonna do a fun one with a nice little lineage. Let's do the WCW Tag Team Championships from
Okay.
'91 to '01.
Okay. Actually, they had two belts then, from 91 to about 98, and then they went to the new ones.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let's do '91 to '98, and if we have time, we'll do '98 to '01.
Sure. Absolutely. I actually have that belt, Barry, the 91
Yeah,
tag belt.
I remember. That's why I thought about it. I was like, oh, he can
Yes.
show it off.
I can show it off. Yes. Uh, we can talk a little bit of Double A. We can get into when it was merged with the NWA tag titles, the
Hmm.
Miracle Violence Connection and Hollywood Blondes, all those teams.
Yeah,
And also, it's just a really cool belt. Uh,
it really is.
I
No matter how much Scott Hall tore it up, but
oh wait, was it Hall or was it Steiner's that took that plate off the side?
no, it was Hall who did it because the plate was there pre Halloween Havoc, but then came to Super Brawl, no plate, and the Outsiders had the belts. So yeah, Hall did something to destroy it.
Uh, And I've got him on our opening graphic holding belts. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that one, Barry. That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it is.
WCW tag team division in the early to mid '90s was just gold. No pun intended.
Yes, top to bottom, whether they were superstars or jobbers, they were
Oh yeah.
stacked.
Yes. Hey, I think somebody gave you a T-shirt celebrating the much maligned jobbers for Christmas,
Yeah,
Barry.
yeah. Real cool people got me that shirt right there.
Yes.
Can't wait to wear it again.
One of them's real pretty. I told Menders, we're going to meet the Brawler at the expo. I think you need to wear that shirt when we meet the Brawler.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is the one we will be talking about next week here.
Look at there. Simplicity at its finest, but so sharp.
The best ones are the simple ones, man.
Yeah.
Like take the Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship, for example. That one looked like a spaceship. Oh, Menders is back. Look at that.
Found dumbass. I am back. Yay, you found him.
Very nice. Yes. I don't know. I may have to bring this WCW belt with me to the expo. Get the if I can get the money to afford to get belt signatures enough, then I could get Luger and Sting to sign it.
Yeah.
So, and
even
Douglas,
Simmons.
for that matter. Did Simmons hold this belt?
Yeah. Yeah. But no.
No, Dune held the NWA belt.
Wait, yeah. My mistake.
No, you're good. You're good. Hey, Scotty will be there. Scott Steiner will be there.
Right. You can get him to sign it and tell you, get back, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. I dare you to get a Shoney's gift card and get him to sign it at the expo.
Right. How will one even go about finding one of those? That's a Georgia thing.
Shoney's still a thing?
In Georgia.
See, next time you go down to Florida, on the way back, stop in Georgia, get a Shoney's gift card. All right.
Tell them, don't ask me any questions. Booty Daddy is standing this.
Don't mess with Freakzilla.
Oh.
Oh, hey, Minder says there's one in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Well, Minder, road trip.
Hey,
now that you're here,
we should all get in. I say we all pile into Minder's mom's van, go down to Tennessee, go to Jerry Lawler's restaurant, get a Shoney's gift card, and go to Graceland.
Exactly. Sounds good to me. I think it's
a plan.
And Tony Khan, I see your.
How do you know this?
Yeah, she's somewhere on her phone.
She must have Googled it or something. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. What about Tony Khan there, Barry?
And Tony Khan, I see your Sue in the van, and I give you Mama in the van. I raise you one.
Sue. Or Sue.
We got our own damn van.
Yep, we got our own Sue, and her name is Bender. Oh my goodness! All right. Well, just a cheap plug. This coming Tuesday on the Jumping the Rail podcast, we are going to be joined by I say a legend, Barry, Jack Victory. He's worked everywhere.
Yeah.
We're very excited about that. You may have to jump in on that one with me here, and me and Menders get some.
Yeah. Hey. All right. I'm on vacation next week. I'm free.
Oh, there you go. But I'd love to pick his brain about the sheep herders and working with Carino, Eddie Gilbert. You know, he was Hot Stuff International.
And what the hell was
stuff to get into?
Yeah, and what the hell was behind Key?
Oh my goodness! So we got that goal. So Jack Victory, we're very excited about. On the 0-1 shootout on Wednesday, the Swiss Army Knife Professional Wrestling, Stepstool Sarah, ace photographer, and they do everything. It seems like in independent wrestling. Yeah. So that's going to be a fun chat. And then I don't know when we're going to get to do the next episode. Maybe let's call it 2 weeks, Barry, and go from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Unless card subject to change, that could be different by the time show day rolls around.
Right.
All right. Well, Barry, do you have anything else you want to add before we say goodbye today?
Nah, man, it's been a good one.
Yeah. I thought it was going to go longer, but it doesn't help when you can't find the resources to
Exactly.
expand on things.
Yeah.
Oh, uh-oh. Ender's chiming in. So maybe
Oh
not in two
yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my company's holiday party's in 2 weeks, and I
Okay.
am gonna take Mindy as my date. So,
Let's call it 3 weeks.
all
And
right, sounds good. Yeah.
sounds like a hoot. And yeah, so until I guess in 3 weeks, for Bari, this is Red. Remind you all, life is hard, work stiff, and we'll see you guys then.